Hi, everyone. My name is Julia. I'm here to to make a presentation for our classroom ECS 315, Classroom Organization and Child Guidance. And our presentation is supposed to be classroom organizational structure. The age group target that I picked was preschoolers and pre-K just because I have the most experience in this age group. Um, I came up with a little bit design, which was based on some of the classrooms that I have worked with before. And I have, living room, the home living, cots, everything is named and described over here in the corner where everything is. I think that, it has um, a pretty good design. It was pretty well organized, so I think it works pretty well. But of course, there's always something that could be changed, something that could be, um, I guess, improved. The classroom environment, physical classroom environment, is basically divided in areas for the classroom, such as block, writing, dramatic play, art, the library, and it has to be planned and uh, planned and organized based on the kids on age appropriate for the kids, and of course, always thinking in the best way of supervision, so there's never a blind spot. We also have bulletin boards to where it was placed throughout the classroom where families can where we can share some of the activities that we're doing, sharing family pictures, and just kind of create that family involvement. And then furniture and materials are placed and everything's thought out. Very meticulously thought uh, to be age appropriate. So it has to, we have to take into consideration what kids are going to be in there so we can really plan what materials and what type of toys or what level the certain toys would have to be. The reflection for positive and predictable learning environment materials in the same place. It's something that students will know where to find a certain object or for something for an activity that we're going to be doing. So everything has a home. That's one thing I always tell in my classroom. Everything has a home, and that helps dramatically students to just feel like they really know their classroom. Um, Smaller areas also can reduce conflicts and can improve interactions with kids and allow space for one-on-one interactions with my students, which is something I always really looked forward to do with them. For behaviors, limiting the amount of students per section per area in the classroom can definitely help reduce the amount of conflicts that we can have, and the challenging behaviors can that can definitely help decrease the amount of challenging behaviors that we see, and also having a set number of kids or limiting the amount of kids per center or per area can also create clear boundaries, so students also know which area is, oh, this is my area, this is your area, which also can help with behaviors. For student stress, it's the same thing, offering areas where student can safely take a moment alone. I think that's something that having a specific area, but also have an area to where children can fully decompress and feel like they have that space and moment to fully take a deep breath and kind of collect themselves, which is something we're very much go, 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 go. And just kind of having a specific place for things allow children to be more organized. And with that, have their thoughts and their feelings and how they do things be more organized as well. Safe and challenging learning environments always have a clear path in the classroom. Um, it's essential for supervision, and not only supervision, but also have a clear path for emergency exits. Offering material, one way of making it more challenging is offering different types of materials with different textures, or use the same materials for different activities, just to help use their imagination and just kind of help with their development. I created a schedule very quickly, which again is based very closely based to what I had in other previous classrooms, and thinking about of a pre-K classroom, which tend to be a little bit more um, of a busier classroom than the younger classrooms. I had to use two slides for this one, and I got one a passage that I thought it was very interesting. It says a consistent daily schedule and step-by-step routine gives children a predictable day. Schedules and routine in the group care setting or at home help children feel in control of their environment, which is something that as a parent and as a teacher I know it's essential for kids. It's to know that they need to know what's going to happen next so they are not caught by surprise. Positive and predictable learning environment. It can only provide a learning environment, but also gives a chance to have, again, to be able to predict what's going to happen, what's going to come next, so they're not caught by surprise, or we're not cutting their playtime short. For relationships, also, it doing bigger large activities, larger group activities, or smaller group activities, it also gives the student a little bit so they can have an idea. Oh, I know that after we do this, we're going to have small group activities, so I'm going to be able to interact with one or two students. And then it just kind of allows them to have more, so they're prepared for their day. Again, how it can helps with behavior and social interactions. Knowing what's going to happen next can definitely reduce some of the anxiety of not knowing what's going to come next. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? It can also help with them with transitions and things like that, just to bring the stress down. And again, excuse me, and again, it can alleviate the student's stress by knowing what's the next step. And again, and last one, but not least important, is create a sense of security. So, it goes for the same thing as having a schedule for emergency evacuations and things like that, just so the kids know exactly what to do, and, in case that situation happens. Expectations, this is something I have done before with my students, and it's something I just use a little bit of a couple of examples. We can raise our hands, we can always do our best. And one thing I always tell my students is that I'm not looking for perfect, I'm looking for your best. So, but another aspect of this I really, really like is also allowing students to create their own rules, their own rules of, contract. I always made a contract with my students to where they were creating the rules and expectations for our classroom. And that helps, just so that the students know what's expected from them. And this is something that I have, as a teacher, have always taken as rules and expectations. And rules and expectations are something that we're going to have to talk about every single day. This is something that has to be reminded every single day, and every opportunity that presents itself that it would be helpful, that's something that we can always be like, hey, let's go back to our expectations for our classroom. Again, it helps create a positive and predictable environment. So you have clear expectations. I expect you to listen to your friends, or keep your hands to yourself, or use your walking feet, so they know exactly the bare minimum that I'm waiting that I expect from them. Which also helps, with relationships and just being respectful. Keep your hands to yourself. We use our gentle hands, things like that. Behavior and social interaction. Having these rules, I think it's a beginning for every other social and interaction that we're going to have, that those students are going to have for the rest of their life. So we're just basically opening up the path for all the other interactions. So it starts, we're setting we're setting the standards, we're starting the base of what eventually is gonna they're gonna develop later on with friendships and things like that. For student stress, just having a classroom rule just, again, lower students level of stress by creating a sense of security, and they know, again, knowing what's going to come next or what's expected of them. It's something that is so, 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 so important, and it's crucial for their development. Nobody likes, as adults, we don't really like to feel like we're being caught off guard, or we're getting, caught by surprise. And I think with kids, a lot of times we forget that kids are people too. And the same way that I don't like to be caught by surprise, I'm sure my student or even my daughter doesn't like that I just come over and turn off the TV, or just be like, well, it's time to clean up and let's move on. without giving them any type of warning, or just having those rules, or having that. So if they already kind of have a little bit of rules and things like that, they can also know, oh, so at the moment I know what's going to come next. Again, being predictable and knowing the steps and knowing how their day is going to go, having a routine, it's very, very, very important for kids. So same thing with safe and challenging learning environment. Just clear expectations, sense of stability and trust can, give so much to the kids. A lot of, especially because we have kids who don't necessarily have that at home. So being in place to where we have rules, we have certain small rules that we have, certain expectations that we have to follow. It's very, very it's crucial for their development. So procedures, I picked 4 procedures that I thought would be interesting. I said drop off, mealtime, transitions, and sleep time. I think I picked drop off because drop off is something that most parents have and most students have the most issues with, because it's the first thing in the morning. Kids have a really hard time, just being there and providing, assisting with the goodbyes and provide comfort if the child needs it can. And just having that consistency, it's something that, okay, now that we're calm, let's go wash your hands, let's go. What would you like to go pick? Would you like to take a break? Do you need some time alone? We have a little cozy corner, we have our this, just kind of give them a little bit more space to kind of get into the environment they're in. Meal times, just because there is so many, just so many oh, sorry, hold on, there we go. Give students plenty of warning. Oh, hey friends, lunchtime or mealtime is almost time, it's almost here, let's start cleaning up. Maybe even adding a music, having transition activities for washing their hands, and or assisting finding their spots to where they're going to sit down. One activity, the one thing that I really like to do is, oh, if lunch is taking a little bit longer, we can play a game of guessing what we're going to eat today, or we can read a book or discuss a book or come up with a story. I used to have activities to where I would give you the first sentence and you guys have to continue the story. So that was always something, again, procedures, it's very, very, very important. And having everything has a step. It's very, very important. Transitions, same thing, provide students with plenty of warnings about changes that are to come, set music, assist students who might be a little bit slower or just might need a little bit more assistance, and communicate what's coming next. Hey, we're going to clean up now so we can do this. So we're going outside, or so we can transition to lunch. Just give them, excuse me, some time to prepare themselves. And sleep time is the same thing. Have had the students with their cots out, calmly gather their sleeping stuff, assist student as they need it. Some students might need a pat in the back. Some students might just need you to sit next to them. Turn music on. I think now most schools do require to have music just to kind of muffle the sounds, because schools has a lot of sounds. Tuck in students and comfort again as needed, and maintain supervision during nap time. This is something that I have been working with kids for over 10 years, and that's one thing that a lot of people still lack on, is maintaining supervision during nap time, and that's where a lot of incidents do happen. uh, Reflection is um, positive and predictable learning environments. Again, this just allows students to feel more safe and more secure, freeing up their cognitive load to focus on learning instead of worrying about what they're going to do. So they're just, in a predictable classroom, they know what's come next. There is no there's no surprises. Same thing with creating a predictable and safe and equitable environment where students and teachers can trust each other. Establishing clear routine for group work or communication can bring structure that can reduce a lot of stress, and it can help with relationships with their friends. Same thing. Excuse me. Same thing with procedures, having same thing with interactions. Oh, I know what's coming, so I can have, excuse me, I can anticipate certain behaviors or certain kids who already have a harder time with transitions, or I can already get ahead of him because it's a consistent thing. Student stress is the same thing. Um, these procedures give the students, again, some routine and some stability, so they know exactly what to expect. Doing the same things, kind of in the same manner, give students the the comfort that they need, because they need to know that I'm not just gonna be, the predictability is, I know this is something that's being used a lot, but just being able to predict what's coming. In a safety plan, I think every school has a safety plan, and it's pretty similar to what, I wrote down over here. I kind of gathered information from all the schools I worked at. They're very much similar. One thing I'm gonna say is that I have never done lockdown emergencies before. I only done in one school that I've ever worked at, and this is where I kind of used that based off of that. Um, they would use a walkie-talkie and have a lockdown signal. They would be we have to close the classrooms and do all that. So you have a whole procedure, but the main thing all that's in all of them is grab emergency supply bags, and also always know your name, the number of students you have. Providing a sense of security, again, um, we're trying to have students to focus more on learning rather than if they're safe or not. This is never should never be a concern for students. I think this is a concern for grown-ups only, but students knowing the steps. It's essential in case of an emergency, um, which also helps reduce their anxiety of if something ever happens. It can help develop a relationship. I feel like some kids can bond over fear of something, but at the same time, they can bond over the fact that they're very much excited about something. So they can also create engagement. We can also talk about it if there's, there give that space to create relationship and just kind of have a discussion about it. Same thing with behavior and interactions. We have to think about the kids, the students who can have a little bit of a harder time with those transitions as well, and finding a way to do that. I am so sorry. And it's also just having the clear protocol and having a clear plan on every time we do the drill, we're doing exactly the same way, so kids know exactly what to expect. For student stress, knowing, having this, I guess, emergency protocol in place can help manage all of our students feelings before they get out of hand. So having those things, again, for those students who have a little bit of a harder time with transition or get highly scared, being consistently doing these safety procedures can also help with that. In safe and challenging learning environment, help students feel secure, allowing them to take academic risk and focus on rather than safety concerns. Like I just said, students should never worry about about what's coming next. There have to, or if there's something that's a threat or something. I think this is our job as educators to know and see all these things. So yeah, I just think this is very, very important. Here are some of the references I used, and I just wanted to apologize. I know my um, presentation might not be perfect or showing very much of the not very much appealing or anything like that. but I did my best. I'm not very good at creating PowerPoint presentations, but I did my best, and I hope you guys enjoy. And thank you so much for watching me.